In this presentation, we're going to do another example where we have information gathered in a survey or in some other way, and the information needs to be organized. And once the information is organized into a three-set Venn diagram, we can use that to answer questions. For a certain group of 150 students, the following information is known. 34 of the students are taking psychology, sociology, and history. 48 are taking psychology and sociology. 56 are taking psychology and history. 42 are taking sociology and history. 14 are taking only psychology. 16 are taking only sociology. And 10 are taking only history. Well, we're supposed to draw the Venn diagram that corresponds to the situation and then use this to answer questions. Now, we're looking at three classes, so I need a three-circle Venn diagram, and I'm going to label one of the circles PY for psychology. The next one I'm going to label SO for sociology, and then the bottom one I'm going to label HIST for history. Now, we have 150 students in this problem, and we're told 34 of the students are taking psychology, sociology, and history. Now that's great because that's the number of students in the ultimate overlap of all three circles. These 34 students go here because they are in the psychology circle and the sociology circle and the history circle. Now the next piece of information is 48 students are taking psychology and sociology. The overlap for the psychology and sociology circles, this overlap has a total of 48 students in it. Of those 48 students taking psychology and sociology, we know 34 of them are taking history, so our job is to figure out how many of those students who are in psychology and sociology are taking psychology and sociology but not history. So we take our 48 psychology and sociology students, subtract off the 34 of them that we know are also taking history, and so it gives us 14 students are in psychology and sociology but not history. The next piece of information is 56 students are taking psychology and history. So the overlap for psychology and history, here's the overlap for psychology and history, this has a total of 56 students in it. Now, of those 56 students taking psychology and history, some are also taking sociology and some are not. Matter of fact, we know 34 of those 56 students are taking sociology in addition to psychology and history. Our job is to figure out how many of those 56 students are taking psychology and history only. So we take 56 students minus the 34 of them who are also taking sociology, and that gives us 22 students are taking psychology and history but not sociology. "42 students are taking sociology and history. The overlap for the sociology and history circles has a total of 42 students in it. Well, of those 42 sociology and history students, we know 34 of them are also in psychology, so our job is to figure out how many students are taking sociology and history but not psychology. So we have 42 minus 34, which will give us 8 students who are taking sociology and history but not psychology. The next piece of information is 14 students are taking only psychology. Now that's really nice. You know, the missing region in our psychology circle, the part we haven't filled in yet, is how many students are taking only psychology, how many are taking sociology but not history, or excuse me, how many are taking psychology but not sociology or history, and they tell us 14 students are taking psychology only. They tell us 16 students are taking only sociology. 16 students are taking only sociology. They're taking sociology but not psychology or history. And 10 students are taking only history. Well, this region right here is only history, or history only. Those 10 students go there. Now, we've almost completed our Venn diagram. The one thing we haven't determined yet is how many students from these 150 are not taking any of these classes. So to figure out how many students are not taking psychology or sociology or history, we take the 150 students that this problem is talking about, and we subtract off 14, 14, 16. We subtract off these 14 psychology-only people. these 14 psychology and sociology but not history people, and we subtract off these 16 sociology only people. Then we subtract off 22, 34, and 8. So minus 22, minus 34, minus 8. We're subtracting the 22 psychology and history but not sociology people. We're subtracting off the 34 people taking all the classes. We're subtracting off the 8 history and sociology but not psychology. And we need to subtract off these 10 history only people. And if we do that subtraction, we'll have the number of students who are not taking any of these courses. So let's do that calculation. 150 minus 14 minus 14 minus 16 minus 22 minus 34 minus 8 minus 10 gives us 32 people who are not taking any of these courses. They're not in psychology or sociology or history. Now we have completely drawn and labeled the Venn diagram. Now we're going to use that to answer questions. Question B is, how many of the students are taking psychology? Well, to figure out how many students are taking a psychology, we need to add up all of the regions that make up the psychology circle. So that's going to be 14 plus 14. 14 plus 14 plus 34 plus 22. That'll give us the total number of psychology students. Let's see what that is. (14 plus 14 plus 34 plus 22) gives us a total of 84 students who are taking psychology. Question C is, how many of the students are not taking any of these courses? Well, these 32 students here are not taking any of these courses. Question D is, how many students are taking psychology and sociology but not history? Okay, psychology and sociology, this is the overlap of psychology and sociology, but we want psychology and sociology but not history. We don't want these history people. We want psychology and sociology only. This region right here is psychology and sociology but not history, so it's these 14 students right here. And then question E is, how many of the students are taking 2 of the 3 courses? All right, these 14 students are taking psychology and sociology but not history. They're taking 2 courses. These 8 people are taking sociology and history but not psychology. They're taking 2 courses. And these 22 people are taking psychology and history but not sociology. They're taking 2 courses. So we need to add 14 plus 8 plus 22. And if you do add that, you'll get 44 students who are taking 2 of these 3 courses.